So, all right, guys, we got to get this one right. On three, we're going to say, welcome back to Extraordinary Thoughts for On Their Mind. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to Extraordinary Minds.
And we back.
That'll work right there.
Yeah.
And we back. And we
Yeah.
back. And we back. And we
Y'all did y'all best. And that's all that matters.
Now, before we get started with this episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this episode, share this podcast, and if you can, do me a favor, head on down to the review section and leave an honest review, because this podcast was dedicated to helping us become a better version of ourselves. And I don't know what that version is, but I know that just like we need a little bit more money, just like we need a little bit more sleep, just like we need a little bit more of anything in life, we deserve to be a little better than what we are right now. What's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcast with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm your host, Demetrius Thigpen, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind. All right, so happy Monday, everybody. I hope your Monday was. Let me rephrase that. I hope your weekend was good. You feel me? If you in the East Coast, predominantly probably in Virginia, I know your weekend or week was something. It was definitely something extraordinary. No pun intended, especially with all the snow that we got. But as we move into the Monday, you feel me? Let's go ahead and just get started with everything that's on my little checklist. So first things first, like over the weekend, I went live and, essentially just celebrated the return back to Extraordinary Thoughts. And as I was on live, I did social media 101. Now, during that live, you feel me? Like one thing that I want a lot of people to understand is that I'm not going to give you analytics on your social media. I'm not going to tell you how to grow your social media. I'm not really going to tell you how to, create content in that sense. I'm pretty sure there's other podcasts for that. There's definitely other podcasts dedicated for that particular niche. But one thing that I've learned, right? One thing that I've learned is that a lot of people have great ideas. A lot of people have great ideas, and the reality is that a lot of people will never make it on social media, and they won't make it on social media for a plethora of reasons. Going on social media takes a certain level of transparency that you have to have with yourself. Going on social media takes a certain level of dedication or discipline that you gotta have. Going on social media takes a certain level of patience. And when I say going on social media, I'm not talking about the ones who just make like a status every now and then on Facebook or click a like or some shit like that. I'm actually talking about like content creators. And when I say that, man, like there's so many people that I've come across, right? There's so many people that I come across that I would listen to their podcast if they created one. I would watch their YouTube if they created one. I would love to go down their Facebook or go down their Instagram and pay attention to like fashion blogs or, do it yourself or whatever niche that they went through, because I know that they would dominate it. But I'm the only one that knows that they would dominate it. They don't think that. I've seen YouTubes go up just for them to come down. Shit, I was a YouTube page that actually went up and realized that I didn't like it and came down. I've seen Instagrams where, people wanted to start it, but once again, discipline, once again, patience, once again, content or just ideas just weren't flourishing the way that they thought that they were going to. And unfortunately, it burnt out just as bright as it started from the very beginning. So with that being said, I think that I really wanted to just go over a couple of tips that I've learned from entering that space of like the content creator on social media. Now, one thing that I need you to understand is that I did this 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like I started going into Instagram late 2019 when I dropped the podcast. And it took a lot of things, like it was a lot of growing pains when I was entering the space. Things that I've learned, things that I wish I would have known going into the situation, things that I didn't learn until like damn near 2 years into it. You feel me? People that I've met, people that have met me. You feel me? Like it really all like I took all of that into account when I made this episode. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into it. Bear with me with this. You feel me? I hope this episode helps you. I really do. And lastly, before we even start, like this podcast, subscribe to this podcast, share this podcast, because this podcast was dedicated to helping you become a better version of yourself, even if I don't know what that version is. All right, so the first tip and the first lesson that I learned going into social media, and I really want you to take this with a grain of salt,
is social media is not made for the sensitive. Social media is not made for the sensitive. I'm gonna just be 100% honest with you, man. Like, if you sensitive, like if what people say to you bothers you, then you're gonna have a rough time on social media. You feel me? Like, especially if you're a content creator, you are going to have a hard time on social media if what people say to you really bothers you. And I bring that up, man, once again, just from the lessons that I've learned and the things that I've seen, man. Ain't nothing worse than seeing another grown man or grown woman cry on social media because of some shit that some random person with a fake profile or a private page done said to them. Ain't nothing worse than you fucking getting into a whole depression. And I ain't trying to minimize your depression. You feel me? I never try to minimize that. But when somebody is bullying you on your page, you feel me? Like, you gotta like take a step back and ask yourself, like, who the fuck is in control here? You know what I mean? Like, who's in control here? You feel me? Is it them or is it me? And that's really, to be honest with you, a lot of reasons why most people don't go on social media. You feel me? Like, they don't go to that. They don't go in that space of like content creating. And when I say this, right, I try to look at it from multiple angles. I try to look at it from the content creator. I try to look at it from a troll standpoint. I try to look at it from a person who's just casually scrolling through. I try to look at it from all of these angles. And the first one, man, like, when you get on here, understand that just like you can say whatever you want to say, just like you can create whatever you want to create, just like you can do essentially whatever you want to do on social media, other people can do the exact same thing. If they don't like your stuff, they will tell you that they don't like your stuff. If they love your stuff, they will let you know that they love your stuff. And depending on who you are, what you've done, or what you're doing, hell, a whole page might even get created in your fucking image. And I really want you to understand that that's just the nature of the beast. That's really the nature of the beast. It's like going outside in the rain and thinking that you're not going to get wet. Somebody going to say something to you. You're not going to be able to please everybody. And if you go onto your Instagram, like, or you go into social media thinking that you are going to be able to please everybody, you're going to be upset. You're going to be upset. Honestly, man, like, I've learned this, especially being in the military and being within two niches, you know, one being in that military niche and also just being in the mindset self-help niche. And with that, you know, like, when I would create a video, it wasn't some college student who was super left wing or right wing or had, you know, it wasn't one of those people. It was a veteran that would say some nasty shit to me. It was somebody that was in that would say some nasty shit to me. You know what I mean? And it was like, you know, it's shocking because it's like, damn, like, I wouldn't expect you to be saying anything to me. But at the exact same time, I've also realized this. People have a nasty way of reflecting their insecurities upon you. You've made the first step to go on to social media and start content creating. That idea probably been sitting on their spirit for who knows how long. And ain't nothing frustrating than to see somebody doing your dream. You know what I mean? And rather than take responsibility and say, you know, hey, maybe I should step up next, it's easier to just like hate somebody else because you can't hate yourself. So with that being said, man, like, I really want you to say, man, I really want you to understand, like, you can't be sensitive, man. Like, you really can't be sensitive. If you decide to do a challenge on social media, man, like, understand it's going to be people who are going to say that you're so immature. They're going to say that this is such, like, you know, you're a boot, or this is cringe, or, you know, something negative that's going to hurt somebody's feelings, but it can't hurt your feelings. It really can't hurt your feelings. I remember when that Don't Rush Challenge had came out, man. And for those who don't know, I was supposed to be in that video. I was supposed to be one of the people in that video. I had fell asleep, forgot to send my clip in. And when it went up, like, yeah, it went viral. But a lot of people received some backlash from it. You know, like, a lot of people, like, you know, were talked about, put down and shit like that. And I'm kind of glad that I wasn't a part of that project, just for the simple fact that I know that I would have been spending hours. I would have been spending hours arguing with trolls, hours sending out my location, hours trying to fight somebody. You know what I mean? Just because I know how I am. I know that I wouldn't have handled any of that backlash in the way that I'm supposed to. So with that being said, I really want you to understand going into social media, especially if you're going to do the content creating portion of it, is not for the sensitive. So if you're going to be sensitive, just stick to the hobbyist, casual, social media, vanilla version that you got right now. Likes and followers honestly don't mean shit. You know, likes and followers honestly don't mean shit. And I know this is a hard pill to swallow because growing up, you know, people always want to be popular. You know, on Facebook, it shows you how many friends you have. On Twitter, TikTok, fucking Instagram, it shows who's following you versus how many people you follow. On YouTube, you can see how many subscribers you got. And seeing those big numbers, right? Like seeing those big numbers can mean so much to people who aren't really tracking. And what I mean by that is that when you see those numbers, you think that person's important. You see somebody that can get like over, 100,000 likes and, 15 minutes, and you think, oh, this motherfucker must be famous. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you real quick, all right? Some of these people is just pretty. They don't have fucking talent, okay? Some of these people are leveraging something that they are not going to be able to maintain for a long period of time. Some of these people burnt out real fast. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you, okay? Like, just because you get a lot of likes on a picture, you feel me? Like, and I'm not saying this from a hating standpoint. I'm saying this from, a realistic, like, standpoint because I'm actually in it. But just because you get a lot of likes on a picture, that don't mean anything. You just got a lot of likes on a picture. It showed up on enough people's pages. Enough people shared it. Enough people liked exactly what you had did on that exact moment. It does not mean that you have any. Those likes did not transfer over into your bank account. I can assure you that. Okay. And I really want somebody to say that because the likes right there will deter a lot of people. And when I say it will deter a lot of people, I'm talking about just because somebody didn't get enough likes or somebody didn't get enough views on a video or on a picture, they'll take it down, post it up later, or they feel like as if their content does not mean anything because it's not receiving the reactions that they thought it deserved. But this is the thing that you got to understand. I'm okay with getting 10 likes on a picture that's been up for 2 days when I have 4 fucking clients. I'm okay with if a video I posted only got like 100 views when I got 100,000 subscribers and I got 100, and I got a couple people of advertisement. And you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that. And on social media, I get it. You want to be seen. You want to be seen. I'm okay if I have fucking 50 followers, right? Like, I'm okay if I have 50 followers, but 50 people bought my masterclass, bought my book, bought my product. So when I tell you that likes and followers do not mean shit, they really don't mean shit. I know people right now that got 100K followers, right? Like they got 100,000 followers, but they don't have any products. So they don't have any income coming in. And yeah, like on Instagram and on a couple of other platforms, they do, you can monetize it. But unless you have a huge fucking reach, I'm talking about a huge reach. That money don't mean that you ain't making no real money. You feel me? You ain't even covering, you might be able to pay a phone bill, but you ain't covering no car note. So when I tell you right now, man, likes and followers don't mean anything, they really don't mean anything. And to really put it deeper, like to put it in a different perspective, those numbers are still a lot. And what I mean by that is that for those who don't know, I'm a speaker and I specialize in speaking on like overcoming adversity. And the person that booked me for like one of my biggest gigs that I've ever done, right? She had, I want to say like 300 followers. And coming into the situation, I was thinking like, how many people could she really have there? I was thinking that she was going to be able to get like 10 people to show up to her event. I was thinking that she was probably going to get like 30 people at most. She had over 7,000 people in that event. 7,000 people in attendance. Now, for those who don't understand, 7,000 people, I don't know if you've ever been in a place where there's 7,000 people. That's a fucking lot. Hell, I don't know if anybody's ever been in a place where it's 300 people in a room. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that's a lot. And it's very intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, it's very intimidating when you walk into a room and you see that many people. So I really want you to understand that on social media, yeah, it means a lot when you got that many people on there. But when you see that shit in real life, like nothing is ever going to be able to compare to real life. You know what I mean? So always keep that in mind. Next, and I really wish this was a lesson that I would have learned very early in the game. Your supporters, you feel me? Like the people that you, how do I say this? The people that are going to like your stuff, the people that are going to buy your products. Let me phrase. There it is right there. The people that are going to buy your product first, like your page, are two different groups. They're two different groups. And when I say that they're two different groups, right? The people that might like your pictures and, say something good up under your comments, that's probably going to be your family. You feel me? That's probably like family and friends that probably see you doing something. You feel me? The people that actually buy your stuff, subscribe to your channels, you feel me, consistently watch you and support you on a regular basis, those are going to be people you have never met a day in your life. Those are going to be people you have never met a day in your life. I'm telling you the truth right there. All right. I can't make that up. When I entered this space, right, when I really started going down that line with podcasting, the people that were supporting me were not people I worked with. They were people I had never met before. Granted, I'm close to them now, but initially I did not know those people. The people that bought my products, man, I ain't know them people. And I bring that up, man, because a lot of times we get discouraged because our family and friends, they're not the ones that are supporting us. We feel like as if like the idea that this shit's not doing what it's supposed to because our family and friends, the people who we think know us, the people who we think would have believed in us, the people who we thought would have had our backs on this situation, they're not the ones that are subscribing to it. So it's kind of disheartening. They're not the ones that are going to believe in you. I'm going to tell you who is going to believe in you. It's going to be the person that it resonated with. It's going to be the stranger who really needed to hear your message. It's going to be some stranger in a completely different state who has never met you a day in your life, but you created a product that really touched them. Those are the people that are going to consistently support you. So always have that open mind. You know what I mean? Always have that open mind. And also just to look at it on a different lens. It's almost selfish, right? It's almost selfish for us to get mad at our family and friends who don't support us because let's just be frank here. That's not their idea. That's not their goal. And yeah, we can throw loyalty around. We can throw love around. We can throw support around, but they don't see it the way that you see it. And sometimes it just doesn't touch it. Hell, my mama ain't never been to one of my speaking engagements. My mama ain't heard my podcast. You feel me? I don't even know if my mama even read my book. I don't hold no resentment towards it. You know what I mean? Because, shit, it is what it is. I didn't make it for her. I made it for the person who was struggling to become a better version of themselves. And sometimes your family and friends may not even be that version. And that was something that I had to learn going into this. So one thing that I want you to understand is that some of your greatest supporters are definitely going to be strangers. All right, next, social media doesn't replace ambition and hustle. And I got to say that again. Social media does not replace ambition and it won't replace hustle. And what I mean by that is that it's so easy to hop on your phone and create a post. But what a lot of people don't understand is that social media should enhance what your current hustle already is. Social media should birth another idea to something that you want to push. Social media is a tool for you to be able to meet people that you have never met or would have never been able to meet. So when you come on social media, man, like you should always have something that can create revenue in mind. Whether that's a fucking coffee mug, whether that's a book, whether that's a t-shirt, whether that's a YouTube channel or a podcasting episode, channel or something of that nature. You would really, if you're just making shit just a post, you're going to be really upset because once again, like I know people that have 100,000 followers don't got $1 in their bank account from that social media. I know that, I know people that get 1,000 something likes on a picture. They live in paycheck to paycheck with their day job. You see what I'm saying? Because they don't really got any hustle or ambition outside of social media. So one thing that I really want you to understand is that social media does not replace ambition or hustle. Next, people cap. people cap, and for those who don't know what that means, people lie. People lie. And when I say people lie, it's so easy to get on social media, right? And create this persona of who you're not. It's so easy to use social media as a escape tool to get away from the reality that you currently have. So when you see people on social media, understand that this shit's not real, bro. A lot of this shit is not real. And when I say that it's not real, I really want you to take this with a grain of salt. In that moment, when that picture was taken, that was real. When that person created that video, that moment was real. When that person was able to generate that energy for that particular moment that was captured and shared, that was real. Those other, I don't know what, were like 23 hours out of the day is a different person. It's a different person. And when I say that, man, like I really want people to understand this because there's so many times where somebody had come up to me, right? They'll come up to me and they'd be like, hey, man, are you always that motivational? Are you always, like that? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm dealing with anxiety. I'm dealing with fucking depression. I'm dealing with shit on a regular basis. And I just so happen to be able to capture a moment in my life where I was up. But most of the time I'm down. I'm battling demons just like you is. And, next thing you know, somebody's like, oh, well, he's not like that all the time, or he's not like that, period. No, it's not that I'm not like that. It's just a lot of times, like we see somebody on social media. We see somebody on social media and we're quick to base we're quick to base their social media off of what they are as a person, because this is all that we have. And so many times have I come across people who thought that I was a completely different person based off of what they saw on my social media. And I'm not saying that I'm fake as fuck. I'm just saying that I'm human. And throughout my humanity, I experience different things within my life that are going to have me either up or down. So I really want a lot of people to say, so when I say people cap, I really want you to take that with a grain of salt, that social media is not a permanent fixture of somebody's life. Like who they are on social media is not them all the fucking time. Allow people to be human. Next, and this one is for the the people who don't have social media and for the people who are trying to struggle with it. Social media don't make you less mature. It does not make you less mature because you have a social media, and it does not make you more mature because you don't use social media. And when I say that, right, like it's so irritating. It really is irritating when you hear somebody come up to you and they try to downplay your Instagram. They try to downplay your TikTok. They trying to downplay your work. And when I say they downplaying your work, they don't understand that it probably took you, 2 hours to make a 30-minute, 20-minute, 10-minute, 2-minute video. They don't know that. They don't know the behind the scenes work. All they see is that you did like a little dance on TikTok. They just see you yelling on Instagram. They just see you making a video on YouTube, and they don't understand the whole concept of it. So they feel like as if like it's beneath them. So I want to just say this real quick. Just because you're not on social media does not mean that you have a PhD in maturity. That's not really the case, bro. Okay? You just probably don't understand how to utilize social media, or it's just not for you. And that's one thing that I want somebody to understand, is that just because it's not for you, that does not mean that it has to be for everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, just because it's not for you does not mean that it does not have to be for the person to your left or to your right. And just because it is for you does not mean that everybody else has to see your fucking vision. You see what I'm saying? So once again, I can't stress this enough. Just because you have a fucking social media does not mean that you are less mature. And it just because you do not utilize social media does not mean that you are more mature. All right, now this last one right here. Did I say last one? Yeah, this is it. All right, this last one right here, right? And I'm not going to dive too deep in it because I kind of feel like I've been beating a dead horse. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like I've been beating a dead horse. But in 2022, don't get fucking catfish. Now, I don't know who need to hear this, but somebody had recently reached out to me talking about somebody was using my pictures to catfish them for the past like 2 years. Now, I don't know how the hell you get fucking catfish by somebody utilizing a fucking Telegram, You see what I'm saying, for 2 fucking years. I never understand that. And I really would love to dive deep into the idea of how people are catfishing people. But if you able to get catfish off of a Telegram and some fucking screenshotted videos, some of y'all ain't gonna survive the fucking multiverse. All right, like some of y'all ain't gonna be able to survive that, because there you gonna probably be in a fucking relationship with somebody who you don't know, and thinking that person is and he's a completely different person than whatever the avatar that he created. So with that being said, always always do a background check on the people that you interact with. And shit, this is not just for people who are, I'm not talking about like the romantic sense. I'm talking about like scammers are real. Hell, you know how many people I get that reach out to me talking about like, hey, I can grow your Instagram account. I can grow your podcast. I can promote it. You feel me? You want to see like real professional scammers? Take your ass over to LinkedIn. Head over to LinkedIn and you gonna see some motherfuckers scamming on a whole different level. You see what I'm saying? It's very professional over there. You might even, you gotta really like back check them. You see what I'm saying? Because you might think that shit real. But I bring that up, man, because a lot of times like people, especially new content creators, especially like new people that are not familiar with social media, the moment that they receive like the attention that they want, you know what I mean? Whether that's romantically, whether that's professionally, whether, that's, emotionally, they jump all in, not realizing, right? Like not realizing that they should check this person out. You see what I'm saying? Like for me, looking at some of the shit, like obviously I got a certain level of common sense about myself, but somebody telling me that they they want to bless me, they just need my cash app, just don't sit right with my spirit. Now, maybe that's because I grew up in Detroit and I'm always, checking out who the fuck I want to like I'm always checking people out. People reaching out to me talking about like, hey, they can grow my, my social media account. They just need my password. Just don't sit right with me. So I really want somebody to hear this one right here. It's 2022. We have enough resources on us to be able to check somebody out, like to really do a full background check. So with that being said, if you meet somebody romantically, ask for their full name. Ask for their full name, right? And with their full name, I need you to go ahead and search. If you got to pay the extra $20 to search this motherfucker, then pay the extra $20. If somebody says, hey, I just need your cash app, man, I want to bless you, I'm going to just go ahead and if you ain't never met that person a day in your life, like if you have never met that person, I need you to do a background check. If somebody is telling you that they will grow your social media, you need to see testimonies. You need to see resources. I can't stress it a fuck enough. All right? Because it's getting frustrating when you hear when somebody else reaches out to you talking about, hey, you may not know me, but somebody catfished me, which are like, oh my God. Like if I sound like I don't give a fuck, it's honestly because I'm numb to it at this point, and I'm actually more irritated with you. But with that being said, man, I really hope you enjoyed this episode. This, once again, was just things that I learned from being on social media. All right. If you want to learn how to grow your damn social media, wonder what niche you want to find, wonder what all of those other things are, like, go ahead, Google, experiment with it. Use this episode as a navigation tool to help you figure out exactly what you want. And I really hope that this episode did something for somebody.
This episode is brought to you by Rise Scenario Based Training. That's right, Rise Scenario Based Training, where we create the opportunity so you can rise to the occasion. And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoyed making it. Stay tuned every Monday as we bring you another episode. And lastly, don't forget to like this podcast, subscribe to this podcast, and share this podcast, because this podcast was dedicated to helping you become a better version of yourself. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but just like we need more sleep, just like we need more money, we deserve to be a better version of ourselves. Stay hungry, stay motivated. I'm out.